Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to my channel. My name is Edgar Mendez, and today we're going to be focusing on what does your person regret most. I want to thank you for being here. Don't forget to like and comment, and there is an extended to this reading as well. So if you are wanting to get some more information, there is an extended. So let's get started. We're going to be looking at what this person's life is like what their current energy is. So Kuan Yin, Saint Germain, and Metatron, can you tell me what is Scorpio's person's life like right now? What energy are they currently in? I feel like this person has a lot of misery. I actually feel that they're conscious enough to know that there's a lot of misery in their life. A lot of times people are like in, I don't know what that's, I guess, asleep, right? And they don't get how unhappy they are, right? This is someone who is unhappy and they know how unhappy they are. There's a sadness here as well, by the way, with this. Let me see, why is this person so unhappy? Things have not worked out the way that they wanted them to. I do feel here as well that this person is starting to see who they actually are. When they were oblivious, when they were ignorant, when they were unaware, when they had blind spots to their actions and how they treated people, they thought they were one way, and now it's like they're becoming very clear that I am not actually who I thought I was. And it's not just like in terms of being a good person, it's also strength. This person's realizing they don't have the strength that they thought they did, right? But because they had all these blind spots, they were blissfully unaware of how weak and feeble they were, right? So they were going about their life convinced that they were um, hmm, strong, right? They were all that, right? Now they're starting to see the truth of who they are. So there's some misery. The misery is wrapped up in there. I do feel how their life is played out that way is interesting. Metatron saying that how they've come to the conclusion of who am I is they ask a really an adjacent question. Why is my life the way it is? Because if I am these things, my life should be this. But my life isn't that. So this is someone who asked that question, why is my life the way it is? And the answer was shocking, right? It was real shocking because they realized, oh, who I am, it matches what my life is. Does that make sense? Right? It's like this is someone where it's like, I don't get it. Why is my life this way? Why is my life so awful? Right? Why aren't things working out for me? And because who they are is someone where things don't really work out, right? And it's not that they can't be someone who has a life that's good, right, or a life that they want to live, but they had a lot of stuff to heal, so a lot of stuff to work through. And it's interesting. There was a massive gap between who they actually were and who they thought they were. So they couldn't fathom why my life is the way it is. Very interesting. But they asked that question. The answer was shocking, though. That's what Metatron's saying. It was real shock to this person. What else is going on in this person's life, or what other energy does this person have? They're angry. I want to say the first thing that came to my mind was their mama, right? Maybe their parents. I feel that to some degree, like it's still there, right? There's some residual, and I honestly want to say hate towards parents, and towards people that they feel disadvantage them in some way, shape, or form, and this could be exes as well. It's hard to say, honestly, but there is this feeling here where it's like, when you had this shock, right? This person had the shock. Oh, I'm this. It's like they were looking at a funhouse mirror and like, oh, that's how I look, right? But they're now starting to see the truth, so they see who they actually are, and they're looking back to their past and they're blaming them for who they are. And your past, letting your past define you in that way, or trying to make that connection, hopeless endeavor, really, right? This is someone where they're not going to get very far with this, but they're trying to do that. They're trying to blame other people for their issues, for their problems, and this is actually one of the things that it's one of the toxic things that humans do that is looked at like it's an okay thing to do, right? To blame everyone else for how we feel, right? Or to be the victim, right? That victim consciousness. There's something like that at play here. So this person is doing that, and they're going back as far back as the parents, the childhood experience, and this is someone where it's like I think people along the way as well. There's Medicine gave this like 3 times now. They're essentially passing the buck to them, passing the buck, right? To these people. But yeah, it's what I see. Is there anything else on this person's current energy? They are. It's interesting because I feel like based on what we just heard, you just wouldn't guess this one, but they are dreaming of a better future for themselves. In fact, I do feel this person is trying to have a better future for themselves, and it's interesting. Um, so they want more for themselves, and I know that this seems like it's, I don't know, maybe it seems like everyone does this, right? But because of where this person is and because of that intention that they're setting, I want more for myself. It's pushing this person down a path to start to grow and heal and evolve, right? Because if they want that happy life, they have to be someone who is compatible with that happy life, right? You know, the person you are has to be someone who can be happy, right? If you're angry at everyone and you blame everyone for everything, you're not gonna be happy, right? There's something like that. What Metatron's saying is that this is someone who's made the choice that they want more. Um, and in doing so, they're going down this brand new path, and this path is gonna have a lot of learning, a lot of growing. Um, it's gonna be hard at first. Menatron says that a lot of people set that intention. Oh, I see what he was saying. He's saying a lot of people set this intention to want more for themselves, and then it gets rough, and then they stop doing it. So he's saying that this is actually very typical. So everyone does do this, right? They make this. I want more for myself, but when you start to walk that path, and it doesn't look like the path you thought you were gonna walk, you tend to not want to walk it, right? So this person has to face the nasty stuff, the icky stuff. They have to experience stuff that sucks, right? Yeah, as well, right? You know, if you have self worth issues, you have to experience situations that make you triggered with self worth, right? That's just how it works. That's just the life that we all live. But this is someone where they've made that choice, they're walking that path. Whether they stick to it, it's hard to say. But that's currently where they're at. So let's see, how does this person feel about Scorpio? Man on the moon is what I heard, right? Shoot for the moon. Wait, yes, shoot for the moon. This person sees you as like that man on the moon, though, right? You know, that dreamy thing, that something that's out of reach for this person. When this person was in your life, because of all the blind spots that they had, because of who they thought they were versus who they really were, they really thought that they were slightly better than you in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying in every respect, but how do I phrase this? Like, they were making the comparison, and they're like, "Oh, they suck at this, or they don't do this well. I do it better," kind of thing, right? Does that make sense? I just so crazy, but that's what I have. But it's like that was what their presentation or their energy towards you at the start is. They now see you as someone who's out of reach, who's out of their league, someone that they can't connect to, and someone that it's like, why would the man on the moon want me? And this is obviously figuratively speaking, right? But you get what I'm saying, like that. There's 7 billion people on this planet, right? This is someone where they feel like, why the hell would you want them? So their feelings for you are wrapped up in this. Sorry, the air just came out because that was real important. But you do trigger a lot of self worth issues in them. This person will love nothing more than to be on your level. They will love nothing more than that. But they got that shock of a lifetime that truly showed them the truth. Um, I'm not sure. I actually feel like administrators going back to that question. They asked that, why is my life working out like this? Why does everyone else seem to be happy, not me? Right? That massive gap, obviously. But this shock really it's still it's like, oh, I see what he's saying. It was like whiplash, right? You know, when you get whiplash, it's like, damn, that's just what we have here. So what else do they feel towards Scorpio? They were mean to you. Yeah, mean spirited as well. When you started to shine brightly, when they start to see the truth of who you are, when they started to understand that you excel at a lot, you also adapt really quickly. And I don't know how to phrase this. It's like, this sounds. Oh, sorry. He gave a loose example, but he said that's not a good one. Is there any other better example that you have? Imagine saying he's not able to pull one right now. These neural pathways. Let me see. But the example that he gave was like, let's say you were cooking a dish of food and you didn't make it that well, but the next time you made it really well. Does it make sense? Like, you were really quick at adjusting. You're really quick at and looking at what's wrong and fixing stuff. You're real good at this. So you do this with yourself. Does that make sense? That's what I was referring to, right? You do this internally. So you're constantly reworking yourself. You're constantly building yourself up. You're constantly trying to heal. You're constantly trying to grow and evolve, right? This is the Ascension timeline after all. Of course, you're doing what you're meant to do here, right? You're constantly trying to do this for yourself. So it's like this person was looking at some of the stuff that they thought they did better than you, or they thought that they excelled better. Yeah, you started to outpace them, and that triggered them, and that made this person feel insignificant. So there was a mean spiritedness as a result of that. I do feel you socialize better than they do. I don't know how to phrase that. It's like you may get more attention. Sorry, it's something like that. It's like people like you more. I don't know if do you have like if this you met this person's friends or their family, like they like you more than they like them, and that was clear. You have something about you that made people turn. It made people talk, right? And not in a good way. Maybe bad way too, right? But f the haters, right? But there is this, you know what I'm talking about? Like you have that thing, and they got real jealous and they tried to dim you in some way, and I'm not sure how. Like maybe backhanding comments, maybe they downplayed what you were doing. It came from a place of insecurity. So that's what we have. Is there anything else on this person's feelings towards Scorpio? Sorry, like I have like this line I'm seeing going up to the head. I don't know what that means. Oh, I see what he's saying. Metatron's saying it depends on what side of this person's brain that they're in, because there's one side that loves you, adores you, is so turned on by you, by the way, and then the other side, a little bit different. It's they're more. It's like the other side's more mathy. I don't know. It's how I see it, because they're more pros and cons, right? This is someone where it's like, it depends on what side of the brain that they're in, essentially, right? That will determine how they feel. So this person is definitely on, I don't know, the mathy side right now, right? So the feelings haven't really been feelings; they've just been how they think about you, right? So that's who you have. You have someone here who's definitely cut off from the heart space, all up in the head space, and you see all those distortions and all that craziness that there is to saying, right? But that's what we have. So I have to move on. Oh, there is an extended. I don't know if I said that. I keep forgetting to say that, by the way. But there is an extended. So let's see. Can you tell me, what does this person regret most towards Scorpio? All right, this has to do with something that they did to you, but other people a bandwagon. So I do feel this person tried to put you down when you weren't around, and or when you were around as well. So this was referring to that dimming that they were trying to get you to do. I see this person with like a pickaxe. You know that the dwarf axe. You know those dwarfy axes like that, picking away at your light. Um, and it was coming like they were doing this, so they kind of, when you set the dynamic, like let's say this person never talked about you, someone would feel a lot less um encouraged to say something negative about you. But because they were already doing it, the people around this person were talking negatively about you, are saying you're weird, or saying you're like, why would they say that? I don't know. It's, some people just want you to conform. It's like that, because I feel like there was this uniqueness coming from you anyway. But they were kind of talking about you, and this person regrets not sticking up for you when they should have. And it's interesting. I think at the time they felt guilty about not doing it. It's interesting. You know what's funny? Because I think that they were doing it, but when they heard other people doing it, it's like they caught it. They heard it. Does that make sense? It's like they felt how terrible those things were to say. They felt how bad that was to say, and they didn't stick up for you. And that's something that they really do regret. It does feel. I I don't know. Sorry, this sounds crazy, and it's not gonna be for everyone. But it's like I see you walking into a room full of people, and they stop talking, and you know that they were talking about you. It was like that. Okay. And I'm not saying literally, but maybe. But there is just this feeling here where they should have had your back and they didn't. They should have stuck up for you and they didn't. Um, you should have been able to count on them, and you weren't able to count on them. And it had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with the fact that they were triggered by you, right? And this is something that they have a really difficult time letting go of. I do feel this is someone who hasn't forgiven themselves for this. they thought that they were the kind of person that doesn't bandwagon or doesn't go along with the crowd. Like they have their own mind. Yes, think for themselves. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Think for themselves. Um, but they weren't really. They weren't, and it's interesting when it mattered most too. Ooh, they weren't, and that's when it mattered most. And it had to do with when people were talking about you. I think that you naturally, your energy is, how do I phrase this? It's sorry, if they're giving it like pollen. I don't, I imagine saying like pollen. You know, pollen like falls down and it sticks onto stuff. You know, like you know it does for bees. Your energy, it like it sprinkles everywhere and everyone feels it. And even though they may be haters, um, it's like you're pollinating them with your own ideas. You're pollinating them with your own energy. You have such a big impact. So people tend to process that through talking about you a lot. So I do feel you are someone who has a lot of people who constantly, this could be like in not always in a negative sense. Like let's say you do something really quirky, and then people will say, "Oh, someone, Scorpio did this, and it was so funny, right?" And I'm not saying it's all negative, but you have this energy that leaves people talking. It is what it is, and I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, it's like these people were essentially feeling that experience. You have a big impact on them. Sorry, I'm seeing like water, pollen, right? I'm seeing you watering their plants, and I don't mean this literally. I think you inspired people as well. You had good intentions for them, and they did not so much for you. I think it's something that you probably deal with on a regular basis. If I'm being honest with you, you try, right? It doesn't mean you're always 100%, right? It's like you try, and you're always trying to better yourself. And these people, I think they got triggered by that, and this person let them talk about you in that way. It's interesting. There's such guilt with that. Is there any other regrets that they have towards Scorpio before we take this over to the extended? Um, they regret not telling you the truth about how they felt. Sorry, that's I don't think that's what I'm getting. Hold on. I think it is. Hold on. It's like it's not entire. It's like Metatron says it's that, but it's not that. What is it then, Metatron? What is it really? This person really regrets not setting the intention for you. What they saw, what they felt, what they wanted for this. It's interesting because of how I'm seeing it though is like walking through a door. Like they had a chance to walk to the door. They chose not to. They had sorry, Metatron said they had ample opportunity, right? To walk through that door, and they chose not to. One of their regrets is that it's interesting. Now he's bringing up the deathbed. You know, how everyone regrets what they didn't do on their deathbed. You don't regret what you did do. No one ever does. It's just how it be, right? And this is someone where it's like they look at your connection and you and everything about it, and they regret what they didn't do. And it hurts. It's not just feelings. It's a bunch of stuff wrapped up in that, right? It's intention. They wish they had taken you to some certain places. I know it sounds crazy, depending on how well you know this person, but they've thought about taking you to places that they thought you'd love as well, and they never got a chance to do that, and it's something that hurts them as well. Anyway, but I'm gonna take this over to the extended. I want to thank you, Scorpio, for being here. Please don't forget to like and comment, and check out my services. And take care. Bye, Scorpio.